guys, and welcome back to another movie review. So, surprise, surprise, yours truly went and saw that new movie yesterday, because of course I freaking did. Amazingly, I didn't see it opening day. I wanted to. Originally planned to. But my sister wanted to take her boyfriend to see it, and as soon as he could see it was Sunday, and it came out on Friday, so we saw it Sunday, and it was literally killing me for those 2 days that it was out that I was not seeing it yet. But still, this movie, for anyone who's somehow missed all of the advertising for it, the whole premise of it is that there's like some global blackout for like 12 seconds or something that somehow, some way, don't know quite how or why, caused everyone on Earth to forget the Beatles ever existed. Like they were just wiped off the face of the planet. Except one dude. Although, then, when you watch the film, apparently there's 2 other people. But, okay, so fine. 3 people in the entire world, the only ones who remember they ever existed, who remember these songs. Yeah, so when I very first heard the premise of this film, not gonna lie, had a little mini panic attack, even considering that possibility of a universe where that could happen. Obviously, that cannot happen in real life, but let's just say it did. That would suck. Like, that would suck for me. Who the hell would I even be? I've defined my entire life by this band, so I'm just like, whoa, that's deep. Like, thinking about that. But, still. So, okay, fine. So we go see the film. And basically, the plot of it is this, like, indie rocker guy who really is kind of going nowhere with a musical career. It's about to hang it all up when this accident occurs. And he is the only one who now remembers these songs ever existed and kinda starts taking credit as if he wrote them, because he feels that they should still exist in this universe in some way, shape, or form. Which is kind of a nice sentiment, but at the same time, it's like, well, is he really doing it because he feels that they are artistic genius and they should still exist, or is he doing it because he wants the fame and fortune? That's anybody's guess, and it kind of flip-flops a bit even throughout the film of what is his real motivation. I had some issues with plot holes in this film. Like, the big major one being, why did this occur? How did this occur? Why were the Beatles specifically targeted as the thing that everyone in the entire world forgot? Never answered throughout the whole film. Don't know if this was like some Men in Black shit or what, but they never answer it. I'm just like, so the biggest question I went into this film wanting to know an answer to, the whole reason why I'm on seeing this film, and they don't even answer it? Screw you guys. Really though? That seemed like lazy script writing, that they couldn't even come up with like a plausible plot for why it happened. Like, even if it was, oh, we've shifted into another dimension, or an alternate timeline or something. Yeah, I know, my Back to the Future nerddom is showing here, but seriously, anything like that, I would have accepted. I mean, it would have seemed a little contrived, but I mean, I would have accepted it, because there at least would have been a reason. In this, we never got a reason for why it happened. Just some conspiracy theorists who dug on the internet trying to figure it out, and that's about it. But, anyway, so fine. The whole thing, like, there is subtle Beatle references throughout the entire thing that stretch so far beyond just the songs as he's writing all of them throughout the film. And some of them are obvious, some of them are very subtle. I mean, personally, I loved that they included that one shot that they completely recreated of Paul McCartney taking a photo of himself in the mirror, like wearing a sweater. I mean, I recognized it a mile away exactly what photo that was based off of. I showed it to Kimmy when we got home. She was like, oh yeah, I see. I know exactly where in the film that they did that. Yeah, I recognize it. I'm like, of course you do. And I recognized it while watching the film of exactly what it was. But, there's so many little things, and I found myself, like, taking notice. Like, I wish I were better at typing on a touchscreen, because I would have made notes while watching it of all the subtle little things that I noticed. Some of them were really, really subtle, like, in the names, even. I mean, some are more obvious, like his roadie, Rocky, obviously, a nod to Rocky Raccoon. I feel bad that Ellie went over my head, that Kimmy pointed out to me. It's short for Eleanor Rigby. I was like, I'm a bad fan. I'm a bad fan. I didn't catch that one. But there's stuff like that. They had locations. They have things that were like little subtle twists on locations, like the rooftop concert. He still does it on a rooftop, but the way he does it is like half Let It Be rooftop concert and half Paul McCartney recreating the rooftop concert in New York City rooftop concert. And I feel like the blue suit he wore is one that Paul wore at some point too. Like, I recognized it a mile away. And locations like Abbey Road, Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields, Eleanor Rigby's Grape, like stuff like that. I mean, those are obvious ones. Everybody's gonna catch those. Pretty sure, anyway. But there were loads of really, really subtle ones that I was just like, I like what you did there. And in the universe forgetting the Beatles existed, a few other things ceased to exist. And I couldn't help but laugh my butt off that Oasis was one of them. I was like, ha! They deserve it, since they always are so full of themselves, they call themselves the next Beatles. So of course they had to be wiped from existence, so... I mean, even Wonderwall was based on George Harrison's first album, Wonderwall, so I mean... Trivia for any of you who may not have known that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure most people know that one. But regardless, still, so many subtle things. But the big plot twist, I mean, the movie's been out for days, so I feel like I'm not really spoiling it that bad, but the big plot twist is that in this universe, John survived. Because if the Beatles never happened, he wouldn't have been shot. So he just lived out his life like a normal dude, following in his dad's footsteps, being a merchant seaman. He was living on a little beach house out in the middle of nowhere, basically. And I mean, even with that, there were subtle little things like the overturned boat that they're sitting on is called the Imagine. All the little watercolor paintings that are in his house, they look like his drawings, especially like if you look at the cover of Walls and Bridges, you'll really notice the style there. There was all sorts of little things in his house that I'm like, I bet if I watched it again, I'd catch more, but there was tons I was noticing in the moment where I was just like, before they'd really shown him, but who they cast as John is so frigging perfect, but they don't even credit him in the film. And I was like, I recognized him a mile of friggin' way because I'm a fan of him. But I did not hear going into it that this was a thing. So I was just like, oh shit! When I spotted it. Apparently my best friend, when she saw it, she didn't realize while she was watching it till halfway on her drive home, she was like, oh my god, I know who that was, and Jen is gonna shit herself. We, like, texted each other this after the fact. But I saw why she was like, Jen, you need to see this film now, as soon as she saw it, because she saw it opening day. But it's Robert Carlyle, aka the guy who played Rumpelstiltskin on Once Upon a Time, aka my favorite from that show. Oh yeah, he played John. You know, the same guy that I always said something feels so familiar about him. He looks like somebody, I think it might be later years Davy Jones. Apparently he looked like someone else. He looked like John Lennon all this time, and I never even pieced it together until this, and seeing them make him up to look like John, but they really didn't have to add that much to make him look spot on like John Lennon. Oh yeah. But the second he opened his mouth, I knew that voice a mile away. I was like, oh, it's Rumple! Like, but Kimmy thought it was just like a CGI John Lennon. So, like, this was, for once, her first time seeing it too, because usually she sees movies their opening day with her boyfriend and then sees them a couple days later with me, but this was like her first time seeing it too, so assuming it was like a CGI John Lennon that they just did that good a job on, she about gave herself whiplash to like look at my face the second they showed him and it registered for her what she was looking at. And needless to say, my jaw was on the freaking floor. Just like, because, okay, most of the film, like, it's cute and all, but did not see that coming. It was just like, it's John. Like, I may have cried a little tiny bit that this is a universe where John got to survive. I got very emotional over this fact, but then just adding in it happened to be Robert Carlyle playing him was just like, okay, anyway. I'm still having a lot of feels over it a couple days later, but anyway, so there's that. Apparently, while I was trying to figure out if anywhere listed who it was, because I wanted to confirm that this was definitely him, and at this point I have, but I had to do some digging to get there. Apparently, originally, there were supposed to be scenes with all four of them if the Beatles had never happened, but they decided that that'd be too much and it'd be cheesy, so they got rid of all the ones except John. But I'm feeling like, of the things that got forgotten in addition to the Beatles, most of them I can figure out why they were forgotten, but one that left me perplexed in the moment was cigarettes. All I can figure is maybe they let those be wiped off the face of the planet so that if they had kept those other three in, George could survive because he wouldn't have died if it had been a world without cigarettes, but I guess they didn't really think that one out, and they didn't really explain it, other than they don't exist either. I mean, the ones like Coca-Cola, okay, I can explain that one away. Harry Potter, I can explain that one away. I think there was a couple others, but, I mean, it felt like they were reaching a little, but I could at least make some sense of it. But the cigarettes one, like, I think everyone I've talked to has been like, what the fuck was up with that one? And I'm like, I don't know, I have my own theory on it, but other than that, I got nothing. I got nothing on that one. But, yeah, there was also locations like the train station from A Hard Day's Night they used. They had them being chased around by fans like they were. Just a lot of very slapstick things that felt very A Hard Day's Night that were subtle enough to not seem like a direct ripoff, but also distinct enough to where if you're looking for it, you recognize it a mile away. So there's that, and I liked that a lot about it. It did feel just very much like a love letter to the Beatles, and when basically the whole motto of the film is that a world without the Beatles would be an infinitely worse place to live, I'm like, I can get behind a movie whose motto is that, even if it does have massive freaking plot holes in it that were never resolved, but, because I agree 100%, but, yeah, that, oh goodness, just the whole thing, I also thought it was a nice touch that of all the night show hosts they could possibly have used, they went with James Corden, aka the same guy who did Carpool Karaoke with Paul McCartney last year. You know, I was just like, nice touch, nice touch. I see what you did there. I approve, as if they need my approval. But there were so many things like that where I was like, I see what you did and I like it. But goodness. Basically, it's very cute, especially if you're a Beatles fan. I think you'd enjoy it, even if it does feel very much like somebody took a fanfic and made a movie out of it. It does have that vibe to it, not gonna lie, but that's okay. I mean, Across the Universe was kind of like that too, let's be real. I think I liked this one better than Across the Universe personally. That's just me. I know that's practically sacrilege to some people because they're like, no, there is nothing better than Across the Universe was, and I'm like, yeah, there is, but there's a lot of things better than it, actually, but I enjoyed that too, but I mean, it's not the be-all and end-all like people make it out to be, let's be real, but anyway, I did enjoy it, though, just, it bugs me that they never resolved the big freaking mystery that was the plot of this film. But one other thing that slightly put a little damper on it was finding out the day before I saw it, there was a news article about the fact that, in 2011, there was a comic book released in France, also called Yesterday, also involving a guy who took the Beatles songs as his own and got famous with them instead of the Beatles. Curious. The only real difference in that one is that one was a time travel story where he went back and then took the credit, rather than the power went out and everyone just forgot. I don't know, it does seem, though, like, interesting that it's even the same title and all, and it's quite possible that they just assumed nobody would ever know if we ripped this off, because it's not even in English, but people found out, so there's a little bit of a shit show going on with that at the moment, but I think somebody translated the whole thing into English for those who want to see it. I just have to find the link again. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I looked at some of it. It's cute anyway, but yeah, that. So, it may have been a completely plagiarized film, for all we know, but, there's that. But that aside, I still thought it was really cute. I think I would give it a 4 out of 5 rating only because they never resolved that mystery. And that bugs me, and it's gonna bug me for freaking ever that they didn't. But if they had at least resolved that, I probably would give this a 5. I found it very enjoyable. I found it very cute. I liked the different approach they took to some of the songs. And another nice touch that I noticed is that they paid attention when he was thinking of the Beatles songs and trying to remember them all and like brainstorming as many of them as he could possibly remember. They only went with the ones that the Beatles actually wrote. Not every Beatles song that was ever on an album, so things like Twist and Shout were just curiously left out because, oh, that's right, they didn't write that. Yeah, that. So a lot of like the really early stuff is just curiously not there. Although I feel like on the sticky notes, I think I saw mention of some of them, but they were not performed in it. So I don't know. It's kind of iffy, slippery logic that they used on some of this, but I don't know. I don't know, but I still liked it a lot. I would still recommend it. I'm not sure that I would have paid like a full-on $20 movie ticket price for it, but I went and saw a matinee because I always see the matinees because they're cheap. So for $6, hell yeah, I went and saw that and I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it at that price point. For the full-on 20, I don't know that I would for that, but that's just me. If you have deeper pockets than me, maybe you would. I don't know, but still. Thought it was cute. That's basically all I can really keep saying about it is I thought it was cute. It's a fun, enjoyable little film. It's fluff, ultimately, at the end of the day. Even their more dramatic scenes, ultimately, are fluff. But I mean, it's not bad though. It's not bad. It's an interesting premise, to say the least. I mean, even if it does do some mental gymnastics to try and make it work, but it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. So, anyway, that's about all I have to say about it, other than you should go watch it if you're a fan. I think you'd get a kick out of it, noticing all the little subtleties throughout. So, anyways, that is it for me. So, as usual, you guys know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload, leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Twitter, my Facebook fan page, my Instagram, my Etsy, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel and you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. So, anyway, guys, till next time, bye-bye.